I think there's a fair argument to be made that some guitars are just as iconic as the guitarists who play them. Let's take Frankenstrat, for example, Greenie, Red Special, and Big Chungus. These are iconic guitars, and I especially feel like the earlier ones always have work done to them. There's always modifications. Like, look at this thing. This is like when you spell your name incorrectly on a government document and you're just like, yeah, that's an X or maybe a K. Anyways, I feel like every guitarist actually goes through this process at some point in their guitar playing career. You know, what if I just change that one thing? Well, this last year I had a similar thought, and you have any interest to see what happens with this guitar? And stick around. I promise you and I will both learn something. All right, so this is the Javier Reyes signature guitar, JR208 from LTD. It's like $800 retail, and they actually had a newer one come out in this blue color, which I really don't like. I've got a type, but right, I really like black guitars with double cutaways. And this one certainly fit the bill. And I found it used on Guitar Center. What could possibly go wrong? A lot will go wrong. So what do I want to do with this? Well, I know that I want new pickups after having bought the guitar and checked it out. Not really my style. And I know that I want locking tuners. Okay, sounds good. Pretty simple. We got the guitar for $500. I got the locking tuners for $115. And then we had the pickups, which were actually really expensive. I went for the Tosin Abasi signature set. I knew I wanted Fishman Fluence moderns at least, and I decided to just bump it up just a smidge. But I got a problem here. This is black and gold. It is a really cool theme, but that bridge is sticking out. It's not gold. Should I change the bridge for no reason besides cosmetics? Yeah. Yeah, I did. So add on another $200 for that. Okay, we can deal with that. Right around the kind of budget that I had in my mind. Just try to get everything that I wanted for around the $1,000 mark. But this guitar would turn out to be both a blessing and a curse. I wish I had a picture of the listing. It actually said it was still in a good condition, definitely used. You could see big scratches on the body of the guitar, and I knew I was getting something that needed some help anyway. When it came in, this is what the side of the neck looked like. Props to the Guitar Center manager that was on staff. He saw I was pretty distressed by this, and it wasn't in listing at all, so he knocked it down $200 right then and there. Our $1,000 budget is dropped below now, and I can reasonably use this $200 for either, another neck or something like sandpaper or something to try to smooth out those grooves in the side of the neck. And upon receiving everything, I knew it was about time. It was about time to get to work. All right, here first, name of the game, just take stuff off, take off existing hardware, break down the guitar into its most basic pieces. If you've ever restrung a guitar, this part is really not anything special. For some reason, I even clean it. I don't know. I don't know why. It's gonna get dirty from my fingerprints in just like a couple of seconds. Oh man, I've had that spray of like Dunlop guitar polish for a decade, and I'm probably not even a third of the way done with it. But if you've never taken off the tuning machines before, it's not too bad. You just need a socket wrench and a screwdriver, or a drill, I guess. And they come apart really easily. They come apart into two kind of spaces. One's the top part, and then that comes in the top of the headstock, and then one's on the bottom. So right here, I'm just kind of custom fitting a shape. I plan to sand the neck down later to get rid of those terrible grooves, and this is just me prepping for that. This was like the scariest part for me. I've never taken away a bolt kind of guitar, like a bolt in the neck. What am I trying to say? I've never taken off that neck from a guitar body before, and I thought I was just gonna like screw it up forever when I first took it off, but it turned out to be fine. So because I'm starting with the neck, first things first, I really have to explain that I need to drill new holes for this. As you see on the screen, there are plenty of different ways to have machine tuning heads drilled into the headstock. And mine kind of looks like number 2 or 3 there. So because I need to draw some new holes, I'm just here taping it up. Little do I know that I'm actually going to remove all the tape because I can't see where to actually make and drill into the headstock with this setup. Yeah, I'm checking it out. Yep, you realize your mistake yet? Yep, there it is. Yeah, you can't see where to drill the hole. Take off the tape. God, what an idiot. So here's my solution to that. I essentially lined up perpendicular with the text with one thin strip, and then I put down the second strip where I can make the hole and then draw with pencil where I actually drill in. So you see me pull out the pencil here, you help see me line it up. And once I have it, I can bring out the drill. And it's really important to have that piece of tape on the end of the drill bit so you don't drill through the headstock. I end up doing it anyways, but that's the method right there. It turned out really well. I mean, 1 out of 8's pretty not bad. Oh, I ended up painting in the holes black, because why not? And it's really just as simple if you do it correctly the first time to just screw it in. So like I kind of insinuated before, I screwed up at least 3 different things, but twice on this headstock. One was a misalignment from one of the tuning machines that you'll see in just a second, and another was where I drilled in the wrong spot and I tried to correct it, but I ended up making too big of a hole for the screw to fit in. So I had to end up, well, refilling in the hole with what I had lying around and then re-drilling. So you can see I've drilled through the headstock there. I decided not to really fix it or do much about it. And you can see it's completely crooked. It's fine, only I will notice. So I've taken my matchstick here. I actually cut it a lot smaller. And so it can fit in the hole. And I just Gorilla Glue it in. And I plan to sand that down later, as you can see up there with that great painter's tape little notch sticking out of it. So I was able to fix it. It didn't turn out to be a big problem. And I mean, that's all you can really hope for, is that you can fix it and cosmetically it doesn't look too bad. And so part of me wanted to sand down all the way to the bare wood of the guitar. Might be still on the table if I'm feeling lucky someday, but for now I just wanted to smooth out those creases in the side of the neck because it didn't make it uncomfortable to play, but I could notice it. So I just started with baby steps on this one. Oh great, so now we got ourselves a good one. Yeah, taping up the guitar neck. I've got the steel wool out. The quadruple zero is great. It's fine for polishing the frets like this, but no one told me that you can just do it directly on ebony and rosewood like that. Don't do it on maple, but this is like one of those woods, and so I don't need to tape up the guitar and waste everything. I always loved the way it looked when you're finished oiling the neck. Oh, wife jump scare. Ooh, looks shiny. Great work, me. All right, we're gonna go to the bridge now. I'm gonna replace that with the hip shot that I got. So it's really not too bad. Just some screws holding it in, and they were really secure. I needed the help of the impact driver to get them out. And here you can see that one screw is actually hiding underneath the saddles, so I needed to adjust those to have it exposed, and then I could easily just take it out. You know, you would expect it to really easily come off after you've taken off this final screw, but it does not. So I wanted to zoom in here also to show the ground wire that connecting to the bridge to make contact with it. That actually prevents a lot of buzz when you put your hands down onto it. And this last bit is also just showing that the guitar's already been set up for me just fine. Why don't I just copy that on the new bridge? and save myself a step. So this is where another problem arose. Luckily, it didn't turn into anything too crazy. So the bridge that I had previously was a Hipshot brand bridge, and then I replaced it with a Hipshot brand bridge as well, just in gold. But the problem is the holes didn't line up the same. You can see here that the holes kind of towards the back where I pulled out is completely different from the other ones. So it's my immediate goal to not have to re-drill where the strings come through the body of the guitar and instead drill where the bridge is secured down. And really it was pretty straightforward. I just marked it with painter's tape just like I did with the headstock and drilled new holes into it. Not too bad. Okay, now we're on to pickups. So if you've never taken them out before, they actually come out pretty easily because of the spring systems in there. And I was surprised to find that these ones cook together with the little header like this. So for any of those, I guess, historians out there, it looks like we've got the EMG 81-8 in the neck. No, the bridge. And then the neck was a EMG 808. Oh, I guess this is an unboxing video of sorts for Tosin Abasi's pickups too. So they give you this booklet that shows you the different wiring diagrams you can do. It gives you the potentiometers for the push-pull ones, and then it gives you the whole box full of the capacitors and the wires. So it's actually pretty handy. I highly recommend you doing it yourself. Oh, this is my favorite part. Watch this. I'm trying to pull apart the push hole. Nope, it's not there. Look at me push. Nope. Oh, what an idiot. So, name of the game, just remove the hardware. Look at how nicely it's wired up. I can promise you it will not be like that when I'm done with it. But remove the battery. I was really actually impressed by the little terminal block thing that they had in the middle there to put all the wires feed into, or have all the wires feed into, and I just wanted to reuse that, so I kept that in. There's some couple other things I was curious about too. So I wanted to check out the switching for, circuit and make sure I understood how it worked before I took it out. And here I am just using a multimeter to do that. I'll talk more about a multimeter test later, but it was just checking for that. And with the jacks out, I'm ready to put in the new pickups. Yeah, your eyes don't deceive you there. I am putting in pretty much sticky foil into these chambers, so what I'm really doing is trying to make a cohesive ground plane between everywhere in the guitar, so it's all referenced in the same spot. So you'll see me put this copper foil down and then actually solder a wire from this chamber to the main chamber, so the ground is all just, we'll call it low inductance and as it possibly can be. This helps with noise. Sometimes, really, it's a preventative measure. You don't need to do it. I just wanted to do it for the guitar and know how easy it was to do on a guitar if I wanted to do it later. So really here in the diagram, I'm just looking for the same circuit diagram for my corresponding switch. So I have a 3-way toggle switch on this guitar, and with that I've actually decided to draw it more in a way that makes sense to me. So we've got the 3-way switch there, and we've also got the battery, and we have the ring jack input, the 2 pickups, and then the volume and the tone potentiometers. So what I'm showing is when you switch between each spot, you're really routing to the volume circuit and then out to the tip. And so when you're switching, you're really saying, hey, where's it coming from? Where's the sound coming from? The neck, the bridge, or both? And that's how it works in a nutshell. Right, so the wire is pretty self-explanatory. I just pull them through the holes that are already drilled, and I need them for later. And I'm going to feed them into that little terminal block we saw earlier. And, oh yeah, I should probably take out the switch, huh? I need a solder to that. So now is the big part. Really, it's soldering. I I solder as part of my job responsibilities in my day job, and I'm just prepping the potentiometers here. Like, for example, that's the big capacitor. You need that on the tone knob, and I have this little wrench holding it because it gets really hot. It's always the worst to do the ground connections, so. What I'm dealing with here is just an impedance test, right? If I put two of the probes together, it shows 0, and that means you have a direct connection. So I'm just gonna quickly point to some pins and see if they're connected and see if they're 0. And because it's almost 0, I can say, yes, that's a clean connection between the two. And here I'm just showing, hey, this is before I even had wires. My soldering setup wasn't as good as it was now, so you can repurpose it, right? You can get these old wires, you can take the insulation off and expose them, and really just use them in your projects if you're in a pinch. So got everything hooked up, got everything soldered to the switch, and I'm ready to put that terminal block down and do some testing. Oh yeah, this is where I was a bit bold and decided to try to put it through, and oh look, it just absolutely doesn't fit. So I needed to actually drill the hole bigger to make the potentiometer fit through the guitar. I absolutely love my one-string jank. So I'm really just testing the different push-pull methods and testing the different pickups. And as you can tell, oh, nothing happening with the neck pickup. So I need to fix it. And in case you don't know, you can actually just tap the pickups with something metal like a screwdriver through when you have it hooked up to the speaker, so you don't need to string the guitar with a random string. It's before I knew that, so you don't need to do that. But I thought my soldering was good, so I decided to go look at the pickup connection first and compare that with the diagram. And lo and behold, look at that white wire. See how it's on the left-hand side of that left block? Well, guess what? The white's supposed to be on the right-hand side. So I just flipped it while I was there. And hey, we're sounding pretty good. So with the pickups soldered, ignore those wires. I'm going to let my past self talk about what I thought about the guitar in its state. So take it away, past me. Yeah, so this is it. Ooh, black and gold. We love that. Like I said, I got one more trick up my sleeve before this guitar project is done. But let's listen to it. Hell yeah. So for me, this is the most devastating nail in the coffin. What you're looking at is me trying to adjust the truss rod. And you can see I'm struggling quite a bit. This is like 900% speed or something like that. The truss rod actually turned out to be stripped. I took it to multiple Luthers, and watching this clip, see how quickly it kind of pushed down in that last section? I just couldn't get a grip on it, and it was really disappointing. Here, wait a sec. For those of you who don't know, you're kind of almost out of options when you have a bad truss rod. You either A, do nothing. No, you either A, have to get a new neck, which I did, and we'll talk about this in just a second, or you have to do some crazy drilling and completely almost destroy the neck in order to replace the truss rod. Or you just, yeah, I guess option C really is do nothing, because that's what I did. I ended up not doing anything with it. Let's do a little side quest on this, shall we? So you might have seen this neck before. This is something that you can find on Amazon, Reverb, for right around $100. If you've never seen it before, this is actually a 25.5 scale length neck, which is too short. You know, if you've never heard of scale length before, that's pretty much how long is the neck from the nut to the bridge of the guitar. And this is really important for 8 strings. Really, a lot of people mostly say it should be in the baritone scale length, and that's like 27 and up, 28, 29, 30, so all in that thing. This is too small. This is like a regular Fender size neck. And of course they don't have the dimensions of that or the scale length of that anywhere on any of the vendors who make and manufacture this neck. Don't use this neck. It's not good. You're not setting yourself up for success when you buy this thing. So yeah, that was $100 down the drain. We love that. Hey, just editing right now. It looks like they actually updated the Amazon link with the correct scale length, but a lot of these other 8-string guitar, vendors, they just put the neck length, and that's not going to be as helpful as actually giving you the length from the nut to the 12th fret. So just be careful out there. So don't ever do that. So I ended up just cranking it just like you saw in the clip, and I did my best and tried to move on, and it is where reality sunk in that this is not ever going to be a really giggable guitar or something that I'm going to commit to long term. And these project guitars, you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for that outcome. And I think that's okay. And part of it's definitely more about the journey than it is the destination. But if you can hit both of those things, more power to you. Uh-oh, what are we looking at now? Yeah, that's right. I had another trick up my sleeve. So you see me cleaning the guitar. Oh, is that sandpaper? Wait, listen to this. That's right. I'm completely sanding down the finish of the guitar. I said I had one more trick up my sleeve. And again, I'll let past me explain what happened. All right. Hey, so I've come back from John Bertucci's Guitar Universe. Absolutely incredible. But we had a signing session there, and this is what we're dealing with now. Look at this thing. So the signatures came out great with this golden paint pen that I had, and now it's time to spray over top of it. As you can tell by this matte color, this is what happens when I sanded the top of it, right? You're trying to make grooves so the paint pen kind of settles evenly and inside of, on the guitar, and it doesn't bleed or wipe away. And that turned out really well, but the problem is I don't know if it'll go back to not being matte black. Really what you're seeing is kind of diffraction of light and creating little peaks and valleys by roughing it up. And when you put a spray of polyurethane on top, it melts back into itself, and that's why it comes out clear. Now, I couldn't confirm what this guitar's finish was, but it certainly is a clear coat looking at the back, and I'm hoping that when I spray over the top of it, we're filling in all those peaks and valleys we did out of sanding, and then we actually get this clear coat, very premium black that we had at the beginning. So I've got a bunch of stuff here. I got to clean it first, get the dust off. Then we're going to go over with an acrylic clear coat. This is just kind of something that is well known to not cause paint pens and Sharpies and things like that to bleed. So I'm spraying over the top just to be safe. But this is the big one, this kind of pre-catalyzed clear finish that is absolutely terrible for your lungs. I'm going to spray that one on, and that's the finish we're going to get. So I've been watching lots of videos. I'm going to read the cans, and I got to get suited up. It's hot out there, and it is early in here, and I'm just going to get suited up, and we're going to put some coats on this thing and hopefully be done by the rest of the day. Maybe I'll touch up I'll try to touch up the painter's tape a little bit, and then we'll go from there. Did any of you guys catch that? Did any of you guys notice the terrible thing that's about to happen? If not, I'll explain it in just a sec. Here, watch. Let's take a look here. All right, so I'm going to do a test. I have no idea if this is going to interact with the paint pen, so I'm just going to test here on Ola. Sorry if it smudges up your signature, Ola. We love you, but you're the sacrificial lamb. there's a lot of tutorials online about how to spray and things like that. And oh, look at that bug. Oh, rest in peace, dude. There's a lot of tutorials to how to spray. I'd be happy to put them in the description, but it turned out pretty well on this first acrylic clear coat. And so here comes the pre-catalyzed stuff. I think I did 3 coats of this. And wait a second, that's not very shiny. I'll let past me describe why. All right, today's the last day of spraying. We've got ourselves the guitar, just sanded it. You'll notice that I accidentally screwed up and used too heavy of a sandpaper on my first go. Too bad. So we just got to fix it this time. And this time I also don't have the matte stuff. I've got some actual clear lacquer, even though it doesn't directly say it on it. We're gonna find out. And yep, you've seen it before. It's gonna be the same. Time to get some PPE on and we'll go from there. This is probably still my biggest regret about the guitar project. Anyways, so we're going through. I tried to take it off as best I can and take off that other matte coating that we had, and I made my first blunder here. So actually my finger came over the top of the nozzle and it started to build up on my finger, the spray, and it came out into huge drips. So you're actually supposed to sand in between each of every one of these coats, just kind of a light sanding. I think around the 600 grit is where I was at, and I knew I'd be able to work out some of that, and the final finish of the guitar actually has some of those terrible dots. The other thing that's not so nice is the fact that I just didn't get all of the matte spray off at the beginning, and you'll see that after this. I think this is my 3rd and final coat with the new clear lacquer. And the finish turned out okay. It's not how it was before. And even then, do you see there on Pliny, it actually bled through because I again forgot to do acrylic clear coat after sanding all of the matte finish off. So it actually turns out that acrylic clear coat's really, really important. So revisiting our budget versus what we actually spent. Yeah, guitars somewhere in the realm of like $800, $900. And all of the extra stuff that turned out to be a waste, like the spray lacquer and the sandpaper and the new neck, that was useless. Yeah, puts us right back at that $1,200 mark. So I kind of hit my budget goals a little bit if I didn't screw up. But this is why we always got to have a couple $100 lying around. It's always going to cost more than we want. It's always going to take more time than we expect. But I mean, hey, the guitar still looks great. I mean, look at this picture in the sun. It's pretty good. I'm really happy. I mean, at worst, it's going to be a really cool piece of art that's going to hang up in my living room. And a great memory of a really, really cool experience that I had and might never, ever have ever again. But it's not what I expected it to be. It's not something I'm going to be able to take out and play. I'm still learning music on it. It's my only one with a fixed bridge. I have a Evertune on my other guitar over here, but this is just what you got to deal with. It's what you got to do, and it's the stuff that you learn along the way. That's the whole point of doing a project guitar. I learned so much. I learned that you can... why did I think about like lipstick on a pig is the first thing I wanted to say. There's got to be something to that. Pretty much the guitar, the state that is in, when you mod it, it's probably going to be in a very similar state. So if it doesn't play well, if it doesn't feel like, you know, the neck's super thin or the way you like it, without some drastic, you know, woodworking tools, it's really going to stay in a very similar state. So you should be aware of that when you decide to have a project guitar. Yeah, so that's about it. It's a great guitar. It's my guitar, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Peace.